Hey kids, it's me, the sleep paralysis demon that hangs out in the corner of your bedroom. Video vomit.
Is this thing on? It's been a minute. Hello?
It's been a minute since my last video, but that's okay because I have been waiting a significantly longer amount of time for what I'm about to review today. You already know because you looked at the thumbnail. You read the caption, right? But we're playing with balls today, kids. We're playing with Madballs, and I am super excited to rip these open, get them out of their packaging. Let's do it. Starting off this ball inspection by looking at the packaging. Right off the bat, we got some slip sleeve action, classic Madballs vibes to them with all the artwork on there. Taking off that slip sleeve so we can see the figure on the inside and all of its accessories through the window box. Some fun art on the front there. On the sides, it has each figure's individual custom art. Looks pretty cool there. On the back, it's got a glamour shot of each figure, along with the accessories. And on top of that, it has the rest of the figures in the line. Now we have these Premium DNA Madballs figures out of their plastic prisons. We can finally take a look at these guys. Right out of the box, they are pretty impressive. I mean, I would hope so if we've waited this long for these to finally show up. More on that later, but I just wanted to get the initial look and articulation out of the way first. So right out of the box, these guys are really impressive. The sculptural details on all of these figures are really, really nice, you know, especially here with Oculus. All the muscle detail, bones and the knuckles, the toes, the raised texture of the eye, the veins on the eye, all the veins on the body. Very, very well detailed. All of them are. Hornhead here, lots of really cool fur sculptural detail that's all sculpted in there. The stitches, the cuts, the horn, of course, the teeth, the nails on there. Everything is really, really impressive sculpt wise for these guys. Splitting headache as well. Really, really fun. You know, you get the two-toned kind of thing here. We get the half and half skin details, boils, goop coming off of them, and then on the other side we have all this bone detail. And yeah, these are really, really impressive. These are the only Premium DNA figures that I own, so I don't really have anything to compare them with when it comes to what else they have put out. All I can judge is like off of these. So for the sculpt and everything, really, really impressive. And to make things simple for explaining the articulation, we'll look at Hornhead here. Everything on Hornhead seems to be pretty standard modern articulation for a figure. Now these are all modular, so you can kind of pop off all of the parts here and swap them and mix it around. Now I haven't really done that since I've opened the figures. I will kind of talk about something else in a minute here when it comes to that, but the articulation, arm, shoulder, swivel, up and down, everything's on like the pin anchor joints with that. It's kind of all the same, like just in different varying sizes with the pins. So with the arm, it's going to be that. At the elbow, just a single joint. Same thing with the wrist. The head is on a ball joint. The waist articulation, single ball joint coming down there. And then for the thighs, I thought it was just a single pin going up, and I think that's what it is because I can see the joint right there. It's a side-to-side thing because we can see the kneecap right there. At the kneecap and the rocker ankle there, all kind of pin anchor articulation. So pretty simple, and I think that's by design because when you're swapping out parts, they come with a bunch of accessories, a bunch of different things for the hand. You're going to want to make it as simple as possible, and I think that was a good decision. Since we're on the subject of articulation and the sculpt and everything, I thought I'd bring up a couple strange things, a couple concerns that I have. So for my splitting headache figure, his one arm joint here is pretty loose. Now, if you're taking these apart and putting them back together again, swapping out the parts, it is a concern because if maybe the wear and tear on the joints can make them really loose. So I am a little bit apprehensive to kind of do that right now. I think with like if, you know, a hair dryer technique or maybe even hot water, or if you heat up the joints a little bit and pop them back in and out, might ease the process a little. I would probably recommend that. Also, I thought this was kind of something that I should mention. So for these two guys, for Oculus, Orbis, and Splitting Headache, I noticed that some of the legs might actually be turned around. So because it is modular, I can probably fix this, but the look of the sculpt here, I really feel like it's supposed to be this way. Like obviously the foot spun around, just because the way that the black is painted there, which the paint is chipping off, by the way. But also I feel like it's supposed to be that way. The sculpt goes, the joint for the sculpt goes down pretty far in comparison to this. So I feel like that's why this isn't bending that well. And it is a little loose too. You might get some switched around calf muscles or something like that. And speaking of muscles, I believe these are the same problem. This one was a little loose. It just kind of pops right out. I think I have to switch them around too, because there's this little sculptural detail right here that makes me think that belongs like where the knee is. Not sure. Maybe I'll look at the pictures, the prototypes, or the the promo pictures and stuff. But that is another thing I wanted to bring up, just to take it into consideration when you're, you know, if you're buying these, or if you have it on pre-order or something like that, just keep it in mind. So next up, I wanted to talk about the accessories and also the paint of the overall figures and the accessories. So for the accessories, we have a bunch of stuff, but I wanted to talk about the hands and kind of how that works. You have an extensive group of hands for all these figures, and they all kind of generally have the same sculpt, or rather like positioning. So you got your pointer finger, your open hand, and your gripping hand, and that's kind of the general feel for all of them, and that's kind of like a uniform thing. Same thing with the horn head. He's got the pointer finger, he's got the open hand, the gripping hand as well. And the same thing with Splitting Headache. So for the hand swapping, it's pretty much the same as your Super 7 Ninja Turtles, or a lot of other pop and peg sort of thing. Just be very careful. Like I said, it wouldn't hurt to use a hairdryer, heat gun, something like that. Pops right in there. It's got the nice articulation. And then you can take these wonderful accessories that these guys come with, and you can kind of play around, and you can kind of figure out which one works for you. So we'll start with Oculus. He's got the magnifying glass, which is, you know, it's kind of got that gross out humor toy stuff. Now, the original Madball head poppers that these are based off of, they never came with any accessories other than just the head and body. So it was really cool that they had the idea to kind of TMNT it. All the classic Ninja Turtles have a lot of accessories and stuff. You know, when it comes to like the box and the art, the style, everything kind of feels like in that vein, and could kind of feel like they would fit in with the Super 7 Ninja Turtles line. I kind of like that. I wouldn't mind actually like taking some fun pictures of them all together and stuff. When it comes to the accessories for Oculus, we've got the binoculars, which is kind of funny because only one. Cool sculptural details, like the rope sculpt is really nice. The slime, we even got some bugs on there. That's why it does have that James Groman kind of like sculpt feel. And the paint is pretty good on this one. I noticed that they did a lot of dry brushing, which is really nice. And I do appreciate that. You got the spyglass, which has some ooze coming off of it. A weird kind of brown color with some metal patches on there. And then we have the eye part, and I would like to point out, if you can kind of see here, whatever person in the factory was painting this, they kind of just gave up. There's just blotch, like smudge. I mean, this wasn't really my favorite accessory for him in the first place anyway. I'm not really crazy about these. These are fine. It's just the accessories for the other ones are infinitely better. So the spyglass is okay too. That's pretty fun, or the magnifying glass rather. And we'll move on to Hornhead next, because I think he's got the best accessories. He's got 3 different accessories. I think they all kind of come with 3 weapon type accessory sort of things. I love this big old piece of chicken. And it's got these beetles all over it and worms. Just super nasty, that gross out style that Madballs and Garbage Pail Kids just had from that 80s style. The accessories really feel like they belong with these. He's got his big old club with the blood on there. And it's funny, the skull is impaled by one of the spikes on here. A subtle nod to the Hornhead figure. The nail in there. So yeah, this is a really cool accessory. And then his final accessory, mace ball of his face. And the painting detail on this one is really impressive. Some brushed metal look. The hand is pretty cool. Now, when you're putting these in their hands, Headache and Hornhead, they both have very tight gripping hands. You might want to have that hairdryer on the ready. And then for the last accessory pack we have here is our friend Splitting Headache. Now, he comes with a crowbar with a brain and an eyeball attached to it. One of the more gruesome. The eyeball is, the paint is all right. The brain is painted pretty well. That dark base with the dry brushing of the lighter purplish pink over that looks really good. And the metal paint on the crowbar itself looks pretty good. And the blood effects, not too bad. There's like some kind of like smudging. General consensus that I'm feeling here is that there was some kind of crunch, some kind of rush. Like, I mean, we'll get into that later, but feels like they were really rushed on a lot of these accessories and paints and stuff. Secondly, he comes with a skateboard. And I like the skateboard. I just opened the Mondo Gecko from the new line of TMNT Ultimates from Super 7. He comes with a skateboard as well. The nails sticking out. They got the worm on there. It is very nicely sculpted. Very cool. I really like this as well. And then finally, what I got in Headache's hand is a big old bone, big old thigh bone. It's with like the metal plate and the screw in there and stuff. And then what looks like a Black Widow spider at the very top. With all these accessories, the possibilities for these guys are pretty broad. You have a really good range of accessories to go along with these guys. And that's really awesome, especially considering, like I said, that the original Madball head poppers did not have any accessories. So they kind of dreamt all these up. Having them all themed really well is like, I think the best themed is probably for Hornhead here. A little on the nose, on the retina, if you will, for those. And pretty good. One of the next things I wanted to talk about is the actual paint detailing for the actual figures. I just talked about a little bit about the accessories and how some of them were sloppy. The overall paint is really good. The techniques are really good on these. Like for Hornhead, really, really nice dry brushing for the fur. He's got a dark purple base there, and then they kind of did this like gray dry brushing all over the body. Even on his like beard here, he's got a dark blue with like a lighter like blue kind of dry brushing on there. We've got some sloppiness here, white that like ran down or dripped down or something like that. It's minor stuff, but that could make or break if you're willing to spend money on a few of these, one of these. That is something that you might want to know about. So with Oculus, it's kind of the same thing. I would say really, really impressive overall. Like the look, they did a wash, it looks like, for all the black detailing on the muscle to make that pop more. But unfortunately, the veins on the eye here are a little faded. Feel like maybe they weren't completely dry when they were put in the box or put together, you know, that smudging from putting like assembly or something like that. Not really sure, but there is, and some of the lines on here are pretty sloppy. So again, I was talking about this before, but I think that has something to do with crunch in the factory. Speeding up that production because these were so late. And because of the conditions of manufacturing, toy manufacturing right now, it probably compounded into major crunch and some halts and stuff like that. As for Headache, he seems to have the best paint. While I'm not crazy about this blue, this dark blue here, I do really, really love that tone of the light blue. And I like the lighter blue dry brushing over on top of that, because that just like really, because there's a lot of subtle sculpting on this thing. The bones are a little, it's got, I think there is a dry brush on there. I think it's like a dark bone color with like a little bit lighter bone kind of brushed along it. The eyes are really nice on this. The little stitching and everything seems really well done. Just very minor paint defects on these. But like I said before, that could really determine whether or not you want something like this. All right, so the T with the Premium DNA platform was they had put out the pre-order notice and a lot of like early conceptual stuff, a lot of hype, promotional stuff for these figures. And then the pre-orders went up in, I want to say early 2020, placed the pre-orders, cut to early 2022, like I was mentioning before with factories, shutting down, starting back up, lots of headaches, especially for a new toy company. And so whatever connection they might have overseas, they might not be the highest priority for that factory. So they might have not taken care of their stuff first. They might have been kind of on the low end of the priority list. That being said, they finally made it here, and I am still really in love with these. I really do like them, aside from the minor flaws that they have with the paint and some of like the messed up parts and stuff. Aside from all that, and even the 2 years waiting, a lot of times I'll just kind of order something, pre-order it, and forget it. And how toy collecting is right now, that's kind of what it is, like you're just pre-ordering your Black Series, Star Wars, your G.I. Joe, your He-Man stuff, and you just order it and forget it and wait for it to show up. That being said, a lot of the other stuff with Premium DNA was people were asking for refunds, and people were reaching out to them on social media, and they weren't really getting any response from them. It seemed like they kind of like went dark for a good portion of last year. I didn't send any emails or anything, but I did kind of reach out to people who did, and they said that they didn't really get a prompt response very fast. Now, how aggressive their initial email to Premium DNA was, I don't know. Yeah, it is a weird thing where you pre-order these toys, kind of there's like a window of when they're supposed to be there, and then you blow through that window, you kind of sit there and you're like, well, where are they? That could panic people because there's different ways of paying. You pay up front, or for some companies, or you pay when it gets there. What works for some people doesn't work for the other. So it is kind of it was a really messy situation. And for them to they also disabled their comments on their Instagram. So when people were asking about it, you pass the window of delivery, and then you go dark on your social media and stuff. People kind of assume the worst. I assumed the worst. I was kind of just waiting for some kind of refund to show up on my PayPal or whatever. So I was kind of prepared for the worst. So I guess in a way I was pleasantly surprised when this gigantic shipping box showed up. I don't even want to think about how much they charged me for shipping. And I was kind of thinking about this. I was thinking about, Mezco is kind of, not to this severity. Mezco has, with their 112 line, they pushed it back a couple months, or something is coming out, blows past the release date, and you're like, where the hell is it? And then it shows up a couple months later. Like right now, I'm still waiting on the Mezco 112 Leatherface. That was supposed to come out in July of 21, and we still don't got it. So still waiting on it. And then Super 7, the idea of doing a pre-order for Series 1, right? Thundercats is a good example for Super 7. They did Series 1 and Series 2, and they haven't even shipped yet. We haven't really gotten any updates at the time. And then they put out the pre-order for another wave. They're kind of known to do that. And for some people, that rubs them the wrong way, because you don't have the toy in your hands yet. You don't know how it's going to be. But for Super 7, for Mezco, there is a line of credit there where you kind of know the general toy feel, what it's going to be. But with these, it was different, because I think this is their first foray into toy making. Got a bunch of licenses. They got the Earthworm Jim brand. They got Madballs, of course. They got Battletoads, and they got the Barnyard Commandos and stuff. And I think these are the only thing that have shipped yet. This is the first initial gauging of what their quality of their toys and their products are. With the paint and the misuse of parts and stuff, that it does worry me a little. But the thing that worries me the most is that pre-order window. Are we gonna have to wait 2 years for everything that comes out? Is this gonna happen every time? I didn't jump on the pre-orders for Earthworm Jim or the Battletoads figures. I just wanted some of those, but I was very hesitant, because I was I haven't gotten any update at all about these Madballs. If you want to jump in on the Madballs thing, on these Madballs series, there is another pre-order going out. I have no clue when that expected is. So it is a bit of a wait and see sort of thing. I do really enjoy these figures. I really like them. The accessories are really fun. The swappability is really fun. The overall just feel of them, the look of them, it really does feel like that, like how Super 7 has done with the Ninja Turtles line. It is a very pure distilled translation of that original figure into the new modern articulation and feel of like what a new action figure feels like, which kind of was started by Matty Collector and Masters of the Universe Classics. It's kind of like translated through, and that idea. I do really like these. I would, if you've got them pre-ordered and you're waiting on them, I would say you're in for a treat. If you're not sure and if you're kind of on the fence, I would just be very cautious. I also thought it would be a lot of fun to compare them to their original counterparts, the original Madball head poppers with the brand new modular action figures from Premium DNA Toys. This is pretty kind of bizarre to have them put next to each other. These were so much fun, and they are such an incredible accessory to the Madballs, and they're a lot smaller than the original Madballs, but these are really, really cool, exceptionally hard to find in good condition now, especially with the very, very fragile pin piece inside the head. So they, they'll be sitting on my shelf and they'll just like launch just out of nowhere in the middle of the night or something. These both together, they look so different but so similar. Like I said before with like Super 7 and the TMNT line, with these, it is a really cool translation of the original to the modern, and it is so cool to see. I think when you do like bulk something up in scale, there is a desire or a need for a little bit more extra sculptural detail. So I do appreciate the blue veins on this new one. I really do think it adds something, because I think without it, there wouldn't be too much to like break up all that like musculature. For this one, it's all like little airbrushing details and stuff. But they look so cool together. I did remember this when I was like digging these out, that they all do kind of have that little pointer finger, and that's kind of why all of these do have that pointer finger included. So that's pretty cool. Saw that amount of detail, and they executed it pretty well in my opinion. So let's take a look at Hornhead next. Now we're looking at the vintage Hornhead with the brand new Hornhead, and right off the bat you're gonna see the difference in color. This guy is a much more like crimson ox blood sort of color, with the very light stitches and everything, and I do really like this original Hornhead, but that purple is kind of more synonymous with Hornhead now, in his colorways and stuff. So it was, I think it was a good decision to go with this Hornhead. But if maybe down the road Premium DNA can do a more accurate version to this, or they have a pumpkin, like a jack-o'-lantern guy, and they've already done a variant with him, so I don't see why not. Get the most out of those molds. But again, you get the pointer finger thing, and all of the stitches are in the same place, so that's really cool. The details and everything seem to be pretty cohesive, so that's really fun. It is really cool to see the vintage one next to these brand new ones. Alright guys, that's our show. Thanks for watching me play with my balls, you know what I'm saying? Thanks for watching again, guys. I do appreciate it. With everything that was going on with these, the delays, everything, the painting and all that stuff that was going on, I totally understand if this isn't something that you want to trust. Show your support with your money. Show your lack of support with lack of money. Your dollar is your vote. That will determine whether this line continues or not. If it doesn't, I still got these, so that's cool. We still got these. So until next time, I'll see you later. I gotta write better stuff.